What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of A Couple of Subs. I'm your host, Cody Crane. With me, as always, my lovely co-host, Kristen Crane, aka Kiki.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to the third part of our mini series with me and Cody.
That's right. Before we kick off season 4, put a 3-part mini series out just to keep everybody engaged on YouTube. And today is number 3 of that, and who better to interview than my lovely wife?
Aw, that's sweet.
So, on today's show, we're going to talk about diving in head first, taking huge risks, and ultimately how to find your niche. So, without further ado, let's dive right off into this thing head first.
I've never been on this side of the mic before.
Well, it ain't that bad.
I mean, you've done it like twice now. This is my first time, like, being the interviewee. Interviewee. We'll see how it goes.
All right, so Kristen, why don't you give all the listeners a little quick rundown on your background, professional background, just finished college, boom, where you at?
Yep, so I finished at Southern Miss. I started at Mississippi State, but I finished at Southern Miss. And then I moved back to my hometown of Meridian. And I got a summer internship at Leading Edges Advertising. That was my very first taste of the real world, if you will. And great experience, learned a lot. And then I immediately rolled into project management at Mitchell Signs. And slowly worked my way into sales, and I was selling, every type of sign, and I loved that business because everything was different, everything was custom, everybody needs a sign for their business. I really loved working with people there. I was really good at that. I loved working at Mitchell Signs. But I did always know at some point that I would eventually go and work for my dad. And so I went to work I was at Mitchell Signs for probably 3 years. Yeah, three years or so. And then I went to work for my dad and PR, communications, marketing, just, out in the public kind of thing. Served on some boards, just really trying to promote Glass Ink. And yeah, so I'm still there. I'm part-time now though. Been there for going on 4 years, or at 4 years, 4.5, something like that. So anyway.
Well, so at the time that you're full-time, for Glass Ink, I know that's how you and I met.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the face of the company, always going and meeting and wheeling and dealing, if you will.
Yep.
So what was it that kind of tipped you over the edge to make you decide, all right, I've been thinking about this long enough, I'm going out on my own, I'm gonna start a business?
Well, a few things, I think. No risk, no reward. That's pretty common sense. A huge fear of mine, I think one of my biggest fears in life is getting older, being on my deathbed, looking back at my life and having regrets about something
that what if moment.
What if?
Oh,
I know.
I'm scared to death.
I know.
I may get myself in a lot of trouble, but I don't want a what if moment.
Exactly. I would rather fall flat on my face 1,000 times than never even try at all. And so that was a huge part of it.
That's why I love you.
The other part was, so my dad opened Glass Incorporated when I was 8 years old. And before that, he had been just working at several different glass companies. And I remember him coming home one day. He got fired this is before he opened up Glass Ink. He came home one day and he was like, I got fired, I'm unemployed, and so that was a big thing.
Yeah, it was a big thing.
He's got a whole family to support, and he comes home, he's unemployed, and even being that young, I just remember, I have just vivid memories of this. I watched him bust his ass and build this company from nothing. And that is really, that like stuck in me, like it's in me, you know. I loved watching that, and I didn't even know what I was watching at 8 years old. I had no idea until now. I'm 30 years old and just like looking back, and just I love that. I'm so passionate about his hard work and like what he's done to build this company, his company, and I'm just, it sets me on fire. I love it.
I know, you know, I know you think the world of your dad and look up to him in a lot of ways. Was the thought ever like, well, if he can do it, I can do it?
Oh, 100%. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
kind of felt that.
Absolutely. And like seeing like something, I think it's a whole different ballgame whenever you're the one building something from the ground up versus inheriting something. Yeah. Not like there's anything wrong with that. I mean, my God, I'm not going to apologize for my father being successful, but I wanted that feeling. I wanted, like, nobody can take that away from you.
That's right.
You know? And it's something that like I longed for, was to feel that. And so I guess a year and a half ago, I had been thinking about it for a while. You know, I feel like I've had that feeling inside of me for a while, but being young and just starting out in my career, not knowing what the hell I'm doing. I mean, you have to try different things. And so, going and working for him, I loved it. I love working with my dad. We're very similar, but we're very different at the same time. And, anyway, so I had been feeling like, all right, you know, it's not going away. My mom always said that your gut is your direct line to God. And whenever you can't get something, like you just know, you feel something in your gut, that is just God just talking to you, and you need to listen to him. And this feeling wouldn't go away. Like I just knew that I wanted something for myself that I could call my own. And so I went and sat down with my dad, and I was so nervous. God, I was so nervous, and I was in tears.
He's an intimidating man.
He is an intimidating man, even as his daughter. Yeah, I mean, he's the sweetest man on the face of the earth, but he can be intimidating too. But I didn't want to disappoint him, and I was so nervous, but I just told him, I was like, you know, I got to do something on my own. I have to know what that feels like. And so I took a huge risk. Went part-time. I have 2 older brothers in the company as well, and you know, at that point in time, we were, you know, slowly being trained, you know, groomed, whatever. And I kind of just like started to realize, I think I've realized it for a while, but admitted it to myself. You know, I think I'm really here because I'm more passionate about what he's built than like selling glass. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't waking up in the morning like, yes, let's go sell some glass. It just wasn't, you know, or isn't. But that's his thing. And he's just like that's his passion.
Yeah.
And like your granddad and your granddad's 82, 83 years old, and he's there every single day. And that's how my dad is. I mean, he's going on 64, and he's there every single day, and he'll be there until he can't. Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, and that's something, it's like your calling almost, or whatever. Anyway, so
at that point, whenever you know, you knew you had this feeling in your gut. Whenever you decided, all right, I'm going part-time, I've got to build my own thing. I want that feeling. Did you know exactly what you wanted to do at that point?
Yes and no. Yes and no, because I would say one of the biggest downfalls of being a creative person, which I am. I'm creative. I don't know math. That's not my strong suit. I can't do that, but I'm creative. And one of the biggest downfalls of having a creative brain is like I'm all over the place.
Get that SOS.
It just drives
Shiny
me.
object syndrome.
Yeah, like
shiny object syndrome.
Like I don't like just one thing. I like multiple different things, and yeah. So I opened up this company, and so I started it as event planning and event rentals and interior design. That's what I started this company as. But it's just me, and one person can only do so much. And literally the same month that I started this company, we got full custody of Trip, and COVID was going on, and it was just it was so.
No one was having events.
I know, right?
Worst time ever. Worst
time in history. But I'm good at throwing a party. Like, I like to throw parties, like to plan parties.
You're good at that.
Anyway, and so to answer your question, yes and no. Looking back now, I wish that I would have started with interior design, which is what I rebranded my company a few days ago, actually. I'm in the process. I am solely interior design. That is my one focus. That is what I'm going to do versus the event planning and, that kind of stuff. I love it, but it was just the smartest business decision for me personally and us as a family, and it just made more sense, and I love it more than I do event planning, and I'm better at it. So yeah, after a year and a half, or almost a year and a half, I finally have found
and a lot of furniture moving and hauling and setting up. And
it's a lot of physical work. And
she buys this furniture by the pound.
No,
I swear to God, she buys it by the pound.
Well, at least you're used to it because your mama does the same thing. So did the same thing.
So it takes trial and error. I'm not going to say there was an error.
No doubt. Oh yeah,
anywhere, but
several errors.
Those errors are what gets you to where you're at.
Yep.
Failing is not failing as long as you keep going, right?
Yep.
As long as you don't quit, failing isn't failing. Failing is learning.
What is it? I have a quote on a sheet of paper. I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 reasons or 10,000 ways it won't work. Thomas Edison. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't want to regret anything, so I'd rather literally fall flat on my face than that what if feeling. That's not for me.
Me either. So tell our listeners, so this is conspired in the last week that you've completely rebranded, flipped the script on everything that you've been working on for the last year, and leaped off this ledge and took a shot in the dark, but it took you a little while to get to where was it a light switch? Like, hey, this is it. This is the thing that I meant to do a year ago.
Yeah. Atlanta market was coming up, and my mom and I have always talked about going to that together. She's been several times, but I'd never been. Excuse me. And I'm in the middle of helping one of my best friends, Sarah and Keith Klaus, out of Madison, Mississippi.
Sup, Keith?
Sup, Keith? They just bought a house, and I told her, what perfect timing. You're gonna be my guinea pig. Like, let me just, I'm slow.
It was a complete renovation, right? Stripped out.
Oh yeah, like they bought, it's an older home, and
like stripped to the studs.
No, not that much, but yeah, they're like redoing just about everything. And I was like, oh my God, perfect. Eventually I'm wanting to get to just doing the interior side of things, but I gotta kind of figure it out or whatever. I was like, perfect timing. And this was about a month ago. So, so anyway, I've been helping Sarah and Keith with that. And then Atlanta market was creeping up, and I was like, hey, Mom, I want to go. Are you free? It was very spur of the moment.
And not convenient.
No, not convenient at all. No, we had been out of town for like...
that's what you have to do. You gotta make sacrifices.
Yep. Yeah, and I will say that was the coolest, craziest experience. It's 3 huge, like 3 20-story buildings full of... Each floor is like so many vendors. It's overwhelming, but I was like, I need to go there to make the contacts. I don't know who to buy from. You know, I've got to like physically, I'm a very visual person.
You have to put yourself in the industry.
Yeah. And, yeah. And so anyway, we went, and I mean, I knew before I went that I eventually wanted to just do interiors, but it's like, once I was there, I was like, I'm good at this. And I'm good at event planning, but I'm really good at interior design. But I've been doing it with my mom forever, you know, like
for free.
Well, I was always just kind of like growing up and stuff. She would do this for her friends for free, and friends of friends and all that kind of stuff. And you just have a knack for it. You either have it or you don't. And she has it, and I believe that I have it as well. So yeah, it's a lot of less physical work, which is a plus. So anyway, yeah, so that's where I'm at. So kind of all over the place at first, but I finally, you know, but if I didn't try, I would never know.
That's right.
So thank you for being so gracious over the past year and a half.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind you're going to succeed. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew you were going to win. Whatever, like something was going to come out of it, so I wasn't worried about that. But for our listeners, before we wrap this up, you know, we just talked about how you had to submerge yourself into an industry and just kind of throwing shots in the dark to figure it out. And once you figure that out, then you submerge yourself in that industry. Finding your niche is, we all know, the most important thing anyone could do in their professional career. So what did that feel like to finally find that? And what advice would you give to any of the listeners out there right now who are currently looking for their niche? It's not going to jump out at you. You have to try some things.
I was about to say, it doesn't just, like you had asked, did the light bulb just go off? A
year later.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like it did, but it didn't on May 18th when I started this company. Yeah. It didn't, you know, but I just knew I would figure it out, you know? I knew that I would. And
you had said before in previous podcasts we've done that if you wait, or maybe I read it in a post or a magazine article they did on you or something, somewhere I read it. If you don't go for it, if you try to wait until you got it all figured out and everything's perfect before you start, you'll never start.
Right. Yeah, that's 100.
Something along those lines.
That was it. Like if you wait to figure it all out before you start, then you'll never be a business owner, because what I've learned in the past year and a half is it is trial and error, and a lot of times it's error and error and error and error and just figuring out what works, what doesn't work, figuring out your strengths, your weaknesses. And it was not a light bulb that just went off. It was me putting in a lot of time and effort and tears and sweat and all the things that go with it.
Time away from home.
And just trying to juggle so many different things.
Yes, a lot.
Some days I was just like, oh my God, just like, So to answer your question, whenever we were at market, it was like the first day that me and my mom were there, and that hit me.
That was the light switch.
That was it.
You had to submerge yourself.
Yeah. I was like, you know, I love working with people and I love helping people. A nurse was never going to be anything that I could ever do. So this is the same thing. Well, I'm sorry, that came out wrong. This is my way of helping people because, you know, whenever you're helping somebody design their home or their office or any kind of space that they're going to spend the majority of their time or lots of time in with their friends and their family, I mean, you know, you want that space to have all the good vibes and all the, you know, that's where you're making memories and
feng shui.
Yeah, all of the things. It's important and I love it. And so anyway,
I kind of feel like a year and a half ago, you told me you're like, I'm good at creating spaces for people to make memories.
Yeah.
I'm good at creating an experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and you didn't know how you wanted to utilize that, but you're good at it. You didn't know how you wanted to utilize that until a year and a half later.
Yeah, that's true.
That was the big picture.
That was the
I like creating a space for people to enjoy, make memories, and I like creating an experience for them out of, you know, decorating the space that they're in. But it took you a year and a half to really kind of hone that into, okay, I want to be an interior decorator who designs houses and, you know, retrofitting and remodels and the whole shebang. Yeah.
And yeah, it did. It took me literally a year and a half to figure it out, but it's like, I started doing.
You probably gained a lot of knowledge though along the way.
Yeah, a lot of not what to do too, but that's not right. It is.
As long as you don't do the wrong thing twice.
Right. As long as you learn from your
mistakes.
But what I was going to say is, like, I really have always, you know, construction is in our blood. And I have always enjoyed that part of it. And that's one thing that the event planning, like, didn't have. And I love the build world, like I do. And so the interior design part it goes hand in hand, you know, it is part of the build, you know, so that me honing in on the interior design part really kind of helps me to get back to like the construction side.
Yeah.
You know, so anyway, my advice would be, if you have this gut feeling that you can't shake, listen to it. That's God speaking to you, and just don't be afraid to try. Life is too short. It really is. We have one life, and don't waste it. You never know what tomorrow may bring, and so yeah.
Don't be 80 years old and be thinking, what if?
Yeah, that's not a good feeling.
Go for it.
That's right.
And don't be disheartened when you fail.
Yeah, failing is all part of
winning. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
No one's ever won every time at something.
Yeah.
They've lost before. I guarantee it.
So let yourself fail, give yourself some grace, and just go for it. That's my advice.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. Season 4 coming at you soon, and we're going to be starting that one off with none other than my father-in-law.
Woo! We're excited about that one.
It's a good one.
It is. It's going to be a good one. And this episode is kind of like a springboard, you know, for episode 1. And hopefully we're going to be doing like a little 3-part mini-series with Glass Ink, just like we did with FL Crane back in season 2.
Yep.
So anyway, thanks for tuning in. If you like what you heard today, go check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, all the things, do all that stuff. Anyway, till next time.
All right, everybody. Have a good one. See you season 4.